the bull run is coming. Yeah, right. Why so many people have this opinion? Why are you feeling comfortable when each and every person around you in crypto have the same opinion as yourself? Why everyone is thinking that we are due to some great wave of liquidity, tsunami of liquidity, as I was saying several times? Maybe this is all a psyop, and maybe the reason that so many people are confident is the exact thing for why we're actually due to go down. Today, we will focus on this question. And I will also show you the charts that no one was showing you ever on YouTube and crypto Twitter as well. I will show you the performance charts comparison of stock markets to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Total 3, which is the index of all altcoins. The question we will try to figure out is why the market is not moving, why stocks are surging back up in a healthy way and crypto is just at the same damn level. Without further ado, let's actually start. Here's the chart of Bitcoin showing liquidations of 5, 10x and 100x leverage. And as I was sharing through the movement of the crypto market for the last couple of months, that indicator with 10x leverage loan liquidations, the exact line, was never breached. We never went through it for a long time. We recently, when we dumped to 48k, recently just went straight through it, and right now we are back above this line, which is quite nice, which means that we are not at the bear market, which means that we pretty much just continue to trend up, right? And partially what this indicator shows is actually human psychology, because when we are below this line for a long period of time, you have to understand that this means that people do not want to loan BTC. They don't want to loan it, which means they don't want to buy it as well, which essentially means that we're probably in a very, very bad situation. Currently, we are back up above this line, and the question I want to focus currently is probably you're speaking with different crypto people, and most of them, people that are positive on the market, what they are saying is that bull run is yet to come. We are yet to see the bull run. Kobe was even saying that bull run did not start yet at this stage. Can you imagine that? Did not start yet at this stage. That this run, all this run that we've seen pretty much from 16,000, from 26,700, this is not the bull run. This is just some preparations and things like that. And partially I would say it makes sense, because bull run starts for risk assets, for crypto, when money are cheap, when people are looking to outperform heavily with the funds. Right now, there is still this mantra going on in the markets that cash is king. We can check out Warren Buffett, who is sitting on 250 billion plus of real, true American green cash, right? A lot of people, they're essentially following his strategy as well, because he's just a very, very successful investor. But Warren Buffett is probably in a very, very different situation to the most people out there. That's why personally I don't follow it. I'm full degen risk on mode in crypto currently, because I'm not looking to preserve capital and to just outperform inflation, right? I'm looking to make money in this market, and that's why I'm positioned way ahead. The money are becoming cheap, right? So to come back to the initial thought, it kind of makes sense that the market does not perform very, very nicely yet, because the interest rate is quite high. It's one of the highest in the whole history, so it definitely makes sense. We are still at the start of the liquidity cycle. And all of this liquidity in the stock market, they're just going higher and higher and higher. Just imagine that this all the preparation for all these things to come into your bags. Obviously, not all of it will eventually end up in crypto. It will just be a certain chunk, right? But this chunk will pump the price of the assets that we are holding heavily. The reason for that is because the market cap of our assets, it's not that large, which means that it does not mean a lot of money to essentially pump. And the whole crypto market in comparison to what's happening, the projections that we should be 3 to 4x higher on the capitalization of the whole crypto market in comparison to what we have currently. Several charts I wanted to share is the comparison chart of performance of Ethereum and S&P 500, which is essentially stock market, right? We can see that we were heavily outperforming the stock market back in the previous cycle. And currently, what do you see on this chart? It's a very, very interesting piece of chart right here. Does it look bearish to you? Do you think that this chart is actually will just go down, will just go back for quite some time and only then pump? Or do you feel like the position that we're in currently, can you actually like tell what is the position that you think we're in currently? Just looking based on this chart, where are the similarities? I would say the similarities are with this region. Very, very large similarities right here. There's also a bunch of liquidity in this zone, which means that there is a bunch of demand in this zone. And this chart, for us, we have to understand how well or how bad the crypto is performing in comparison to the stock market. We saw a bit of outperformance since the crash of FTX, right? At the tops, it was 185% of outperformance of Ethereum over S&P 500, which is probably, if you're holding crypto, not the ideal scenario for you, but if you hold a bunch of Ethereum, you're probably all right with that as well because you made a bunch of money already. What's more interesting is to check out another major of this cycle, which is moving way more aggressive. It's interesting to check out Solana. Since that time as well, we had 15x outperformance of S&P 500, which is a very, very interesting thing. And to me, current situation also kind of looks similar. Like this thing, I would say it kind of looks similar to this type of setup as well. But interestingly, I do actually think that we won't just draw like a high here and go down from here. I do think that the thing that we're seeing currently looks more familiar to this fractal, this part of the chart right here. And us printing something like this right after this movement is definitely something I am personally expecting more. And if you would just check out this chart, let me remove all the drawings. It just looks so similar, like 3 highs here, 3 highs that are going down, lower highs, and then just crazy pump, crazy manipulation right after. And even this thing, even this preparation, even this movement out of the bear market, so similar. Let me just copy this fractal. I will just copy it to this zone where I do think we are currently at this stage, and I will just make it larger right here. You can definitely see a bunch of similarities. The only difference is that you might say that this move up, like we'd spend probably more time there, but it's crazy similar. Even with the amount of lower highs, we had exactly 3 lower highs. We had exactly the same breakout. And following the chart of Solana, following the market maker on Solana and market making that's been done on Solana, Solana is the most stupid asset from the market making point of view. The way the chart is being printed is very simple, but maybe the excellence, the simplicity, the genius is actually in this simplicity, right? The way the chart is being printed by the market maker of Solana is so fucking like, it's just textbook manipulation. I think it's been done on purpose. I think it's been done to send some right signals or essentially attract some right people into the whole picture. And let me copy the fractal that happened after that fractal, right? It's crazy. And I essentially made this fractal way larger. So let me copy it as one, right? Not to mess with the whole picture. I just want to show you this thing. I should probably be copying from here, right? Till this high. Let me just make it larger to make sure it actually faces the whole picture. It's kind of similar, right? It has exactly the same structure, exactly the same. The only thing I would probably want to make it a bit shorter, right? Right here. So we are in the support zone, exactly, right here, right now, on the current charts as well, like dot to dot. Like it's not perfect, I'm sorry. Here it's probably better now, but the similarities, the things that we share, it's crazy. And like, if it will play out, just will play out similarly, there is 5x movement on Solana. Do you know, can you imagine what will be happening with the fucking market with the 5x movement in Solana? What will be happening with my Solana Memecoin with 5x movement on Solana? We are exactly at this bottom point right here, exactly at this stage, before the reversal, before the thing that will be happening. This is not even Sol chart. This is the chart of outperformance of Solana to S&P 500, right? This is just crazy. And we can also check out the chart of BTC. The picture here is not that great to my liking, right? Because the fractal of Solana that I was showing you is this one, right? And following that fractal and following what we are seeing currently, we should be somewhere right here, which means that we still have like since December till pump in October, it was like how many, like 10 months? Do we still have 10 months to wait and we will just be seeing something like this? Will we actually see that? Because if something like this would be happening, yeah, it would just be crazy. Like traders would just prevail on the market. If something like this would be happening, it would be just crazy. Like till our final movement, we would just copy this fractal. And if we would assume that this fractal is something that we're seeing currently, like the start of our shit, yeah, that's just crazy. Like that means that we will start moving BTC later than 2025. What about election pump? What about liquidity cycle? You have to understand that it's not like we have like certain time frames where it's not like we're not limited by time. We are limited by time. Bitcoin is usually peaking 1.5 years after the halving. It does not connect to halving in any way. It's just that the halving event is synced up with the global liquidity cycle. And Bitcoin as a risk asset is usually topping at the top of global liquidity cycle when there is larger liquidity in the market and when the money are the most cheap, which means that the interest rate is lowest, right? I don't think that this fractal would actually be repeating. Like, I honestly want us to come to resolution. And markets seem quite dead at this stage. And usually when the market is quite dead, that means that huge move is coming. And based on this chart, based on what I'm showing to you, do you think that like what move will actually continue? What move will come from here? Are we just going down? Like, does it look native to you if we'll just go down from here and maybe somewhere later we'll have something like that? Well, it would be very, very similar to this situation, right? But at the same time, BTC can be trading sideways. We'll just have our alt season with the alts that we are seeing. As essentially, BTC has reached levels around its previous all-time high. Alts had not. It's just that BTC was and kind of is trading around previous all-time highs. Total 3? No, not even a mile. And Bitcoin dominance is kind of topping currently at this stage. I do think it's kind of topping. So the main question you want to ask yourself, are we here or are we here? That's the option number one. That's the option number two. And these two options, they decide everything that's going to happen on this market. And Solana chart to S&P 500 performance shows us that we're here. That we might be even here. It's just that Solana chart, it does not have like this large consolidation right here because it's a newer asset essentially. It just don't have it on the chart, right? So the real question is, are we in the point number one and we will just go down for accumulation for another 2 years, right? Or are we in the point number two? Are we at the peak bottom before the crazy pump of the market? I think we're at the point number two. Reason for that, bunch of rate cuts. Money will be becoming cheaper. I don't think that they have a bunch of time to consolidate, to wait, to accumulate. I don't think they want that. I think they want to use the fuel from the stock market as well to pump some things in crypto, 100%. We have the US election. Quantitative easing that I told you with a high chance will be happening in September. I told you about this back in December. In December of 2023, I told you that. There were already people in the market, me, myself included, sharing info projections that quantitative easing, there is high chance, based on the analysts, that it should start around September of this year. We see first things starting already. The Fed will already be including funds into the market to buy out some things from it, right? It's just crazy. It's crazy to see these things unleash. Something I actually told you back in December. We have all these catalysts for our market currently. I don't see us like, can you honestly respond by yourself to the question that like, what should be the scenario that we're going into the accumulation for 1 to 2 years? It's actually quite an easy thought process, like mental mind frame that you can imply and implement yourself. Because all right, we're not talking about like us like just pumping, because I'm always talking about these things. What is the bear case? Do you see us going into accumulation for more months, for 1 to 2 years? I don't see this happening. I just don't see this happening in the marketplace currently. We have this shittery, just piece of shit price action since March. Nothing is happening. Just sideways action with dumps. It's worst case of like worst market out there. And you have to understand that there is beauty in these moves as well. Because over this dumpage, over this shit price movement, more and more people, they were selling. They were exiting. They maybe like some were rebought right here because he thought that we are coming back. We dumped, right? So he probably sold, right? People were trimming the backs, and on leverage especially, through this time. Up, down, up, down. This is just a crazy piece of price action. But you need to understand the beauty of this price action is that a bunch of people are not in the market currently, which means that once this explosive move starts, finally, they will be pushing capital into the market like crazy. This is how these fractals essentially appear, like this giant piece of fractal, right? This is how they appear in the first place. This fractal as well. Bunch of people were out of the market and they felt FOMO and they started to push capital like crazy. And after these long consolidations in a declining market, that's something that's happening, and that's something that should be happening. The current market that we see, it shows us that we are due for some large move. In the markets, it can be either move up or move down. You can think that we might have a large move sideways. I don't know, like it would be just crazy. All the things that I'm sharing, like fundamentals, even this chart, like they don't look down. It does not look down at this stage. We are down for quite some time already. It's fucking boring to a certain extent as well. A lot of people are leaving this market or they stop paying attention. They kind of coming back into the builder modes and things like that. They start to build shit in the market, not kind of like actively looking. Most of the new projects that are coming out currently, they're just scams. Like you have a very, very set of nice and good projects you can actually enter and you can capitalize on heavily once we'll have this crazy upward move for believers, and believers will heavily outperform traders, right? So this is my overview, and the reason I was sharing these charts in comparison to the S&P 500 to the stock market is because we found something very, very interesting on Sol to S&P 500 chart, the similarities between the fractals, and in general we are underperforming stocks quite heavily for a range of time already. I would say we are at the top. We are at the top of this underperformance, which means that it should switch and we should start to outperform. So I kind of invert the chart right there, if it makes sense. Following all the fundamentals shared and all the charts shared as well. This is my review for now. Thank you very much for watching this video. This is daily psychological help from Stan. We went to the question that a lot of market participants are saying that bull market just did not start yet and things like that. The bias there is that I think that people that are saying that they are more experienced, and people that just sold and left and think it's going to zero, they don't have a lot of experience in this market, right? Yeah, it's tough for everyone. You are thinking that, man, like this money, they can just go to zero any day, right? World War IIIs and things like that. But guess what? World War III's fucking news, they're not coming out at the top of the cycles. They're coming out at the bottoms. Thank you very much for watching this video. I'll be seeing you tomorrow.